All right, so in this section, we'll be looking at HTML table. How many of us have heard of the word table in coding? Any
Table.
idea? Yeah, table. Have you heard of the word table in coding before now?
No, sir.
All right, so but if we have been using Microsoft Word, you must have heard of the word table, right?
Yes.
What did you do with
Yes, sir.
what have you or what do you do with table in Microsoft Word specifically? I just want us to derive a kind of background knowledge from there so you know what exactly we want to code tonight. What kind of documents have you ever seen anyone process with table in Microsoft Word?
My own, I used it to
Hmm.
someone calendar like that.
You use it to form a calendar.
Yes, because I wanted to put this person's picture. So I had to use the table from Microsoft Word.
Okay, so let's start by having the proper definition of table. So I will encourage us to be jotting down key points because I may not send the video immediately so that at least you can have something to practice before the video
But
gets.
your network is really disturbing you.
You are not hearing me.
Your, net- your network is
It, it's
cracking.
breaking. Okay. So let me see
Mm.
because I just noticed that MTN is not. Let me just see if I can switch to the next. Don't know what. So please let me confirm if this one is better.
Yes, sir.
This one is better, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Very clear.
All right. So I said we are looking at HTML table. So let me quickly create the file table.html table.html. So let me activate my HTML default file. See if I can expand it. So table encode generally. Okay, so what we mean by table, just like somebody have already defined or probably make a reference to what she have done with table. Now, a lot of persons have different things they can actually do with table. Now, in Microsoft Word, we define table as a two-dimensional structure. So what makes it a two-dimensional structure? If I may just go to Microsoft Word so that we just show us the user interface of what we are about to design tonight. So let's assume that I go to Insert and then I have something like this.
Okay.
So this is table. Now, what I did right now to design or create this table, I did not use code. So I use an application where the table has been pre-written and tagged to a function, which I just clicked that brought it out. But as programmers, we are expected to develop it. We are expected to write code that will give us this kind of structure. There are a lot of data we can actually present with a format like this on our web page. So we are not just looking at it for just learning sake. We need to also be able to project where within our website or pages we will likely use the table to publish content to the users. For example, you are building a church website. Definitely, you are going to display the order of their services. That can be published in a web page with a table. Let's also assume that you are building a website for a school. You are going to use table to publish their examination timetable or probably to publish their results. So even when we get to the back end, we are going to also create table for storing record in our database. So table is an essential and important element in HTML, which its function cannot be emphasized. So there are a whole lot of things a developer can achieve with the table. Another key thing we do with table at times is to create our image array in our gallery page where we want to like showcase the work we have done. So we can wrap those images in a table that can give us a kind of unique arrangement. So with this, we now have at the back of our mind what we want to focus on tonight. Now, let's quickly look at some of the features that makes up this table we want to code. The whole of this, I'm talking about the borderline, this section I'm navigating at, it is called, there is a tag used for declaring it in HTML. So for you to, let's mute if you are not talking so that we can have smooth conversation and to avoid background noise. All right. Now, the whole of this table, in coding, for us to develop it, we have to start by declaring the table element itself. And how we do that is simply like what I've done here. So if I just do something like this, so this is simple syntax for declaring table. So every other thing you will write inside it become the table properties or elements. So this is a simple HTML table structure. So you start by declaring the table, and then you also declare a couple of tags inside it in order to formulate the columns, which are called the TH. But before that, we also have the horizontal spaces, which are called the TR. Now, in a conventional way, we refer to them as rows. So if, for example, now I have TR, so that TR represents table row, which means table row. And the rows are for allowing creation of records. Now, I can expand the table row as another sub element, and then inside the table row, I can have table headings. So what I'm about to code now is just like I have a serial number here. This is what I'm trying to code. I'm trying to give all this background so that once I go back to my editor, it will be faster for us to understand. So I have serial number. Let's say I'm creating the simple data for tracking my customers, let's say my business transaction. So this can be the customer name. This can be the state they are from. This can be the gender of the customer. This can be the products they are purchasing. And then this can be the quantity. This can be the rates. And this can be the total. And then this can be, what should I put here? So let me just delete that column. I don't need it. Come here and select delete. Now here you have number one. Here you have someone's name. Let's say Prosper. Here you have data states. And then here we have mail, for example. And then let's say Prosper purchase a printer from you. Okay, just want to check if we are recording. So let's say 70 of them, then at the rate of 500 or 5,000. And then let's say total, after you have done your arithmetic calculation, let's just assume a value. So let's just assume that we have this here. Then let me just make it two records so that we understand what we are doing. Edo State, let's say female, laptop, let's say it's 40, let's say 70, 700. Well, let's just, all right. So sorry about that. Now, this is exactly the user interface. This is what will be displayed to the users. Now, but we as programmers, how do we code this? Now, I'm going to go to my editor. So I want you to snap this, or let's say you can snap it if you have your camera there, because I want to switch from here to my editor and see how I can code it. I can use code to develop it. Have we done that? Can I switch off?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, there are a couple of things we need to understand. So like I was saying, you start by declaring your table by just typing table tag. Once you've done that, is a container, you expand it. I told us before now that once you expand a tag, it means that tag is representing a container that is expecting content. So once you have declared the table element, you now declare the table row. The table row is the record. Now, inside this table row, if you look at what you snap now, how many headers do we have there? Serial number 1. So if you count from serial number to total, how many headers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I will start declaring all those headers inside this particular TR. So I will start with TH. So that TH represents table heading. So the first one is serial number. First one is serial number. So I'll declare another TH. The second one is customer name. Then another TH. So you are not expected. Okay, let's leave our cap lock. We can always use CSS later to format it. So I have customer name. So the next TH, just want us to pay attention and understand the structure, the syntax. After that, we have states. Then TH, all these are created inside the TR, just like we have it in our picture. All of them are in one row. That is what we are maintaining here. So here it says TH also. We have a product. Another TH. We have quantity. Another TH. We have rate. another TH. We have total. Okay, so now let's check the user interface and see what we have written so far. Let's check the front end to see how it's going to be presented to our users. So you can see it. So these are the headings outline. Now we are going to be working alongside with our CSS. So let me create my CSS page, table.css. And then of course, since I'm working with external CSS, I will link it to my HTML file inside my head link and the reference the table style sheet. Then what I will do is that because there's every possibility of me having another table, you can have multiple table in a page. So for that, you introduce classification concepts, which is what? Class. So I will just name this one table 1. Now I want to style that table. Using the class name, I will simply say dot table what? 1, as we know already. So I declare my declaration block. So the simple thing I'm going to do, you discover that this table by default did not output grid line. I don't know if you observe that. You can see that there are no what? Grid line, the way we have it on the snap image. So how do we activate the grid line? Now, there are two ways. You either use CSS to achieve that, or you use an attribute called border in HTML. So let me show us the attribute method before I show us how to achieve the same with CSS. So you simply come inside here and just say what? Border. So once I click on border and I specify 1, which is you can't use 2, you can only use 1. Now, if I go to the front end now, what did you notice? You see that what? It has automatically added the border lines. Now, I want the width of this table to cover the whole page so that we can see what we are doing very well. Or I want to even state like 75 or 50% width. So since I have already classed it, so I'm not going to use this place to activate the borderline. I only wanted to show us that you can actually leverage on this HTML table attribute called border equals to 1 to automatically activate the borderline. But the professional way is not to do it in HTML because you have your independent or dependent file, which is CSS. So you can come here, since you call table, you can simply say border and then border. Remember the syntax of declaring border in CSS. You start with the thickness of the border line, followed by the color, then followed by the line type, and then followed by the color. So I'll start by, I want 1 PS, that is the thickness of the border line that will be generated. The space, then specify the type of color, whether solid or groove or dotted or outset, inset, all these that I are called, they are different line type. But let me confirm this. Then you space again. You now call the color. So your color, you can just say red. So this is just like you are using one stone to kill two birds. That is what you just did now. So we declare the outline and then the color of the line and the what? Sorry, the type of the line style and the color. Now let's go back to the front end and check. So you can see what happened here is that it only created a border line because at the moment you only reference table. Now, what I will have done, let me leave this. I will show you how to adjust the other one. So I want to also increase the width of the table, like I said, to like 80%. So let's go back there. So you can see that what I have increased the width of my table. Now I want to position this table at the center of the page, meaning that I want to have the same amount of space here, just like the way we have this. So there are two ways. Now, table is a block element. So being a block element, it means that what? We can float it to the center using margin, in as much it's not currently having 100% width. Because if I give you 100% width, I can no longer say I want to put it at the center because the table is already touching both ends. But in this case now, I have already resized this to 80%, which means that I still have space to what to push it from here. So what I'm going to simply do is to come here and say margin, because floats in CSS does not have center. Floats either have left or right. So if you want to position a block element to the center, you use this logic, margin auto. Now, if I go back to the page, you can see that what I have automatically positioned the table at the center of the page. So, if I want to push it down a little, or maybe I want to push it up, though we don't have space, let's say I want to push it down, then that will now take us to margin top. That is, you are pushing it from the top. So you bring margin top. So you specify the width or the measurement or the length you are pushing it from the top. So let's just try 80 or let's say 30 what PS and go back and check. So you can see that I have been able to what to push it down a little. Now, the next thing I want to do is that all these headings, I want to format them to be capital letter and give the whole of that row a unique fig color so that it can be differentiated from other record that will be collected immediately after the definition of the header. So what I'm going to do is to go back to my HTML structure. So from my HTML structure, I will class this particular row so that by the time I add other row, then there will not be any form of conflict. So I will just say what? Header underscore row, just to differentiate it. So I'll quickly take this, copy, then go back to my HTML. That is another selector. So I can just insert comment here. So I will simply say styling. I've told us that you should adopt the concept of using comment as a programmer to explain your code to the third party. So styling table row with a class name. Let me paste it. So comment will always help you. Now, let's go back to the HTML structure. What I actually want to speak to are this information. Now, let's look at what we call HTML file modeling. HTML file modeling is where you are acknowledging the relationship between one element and the other. Sometime in programming, we refer to that as HTML DOM. That is what? HTML a document object modeling. Now, which means that you are recognizing the relationship between the element. Now, if I'm to identify the relationship, I have table as the main container. Inside it, I have tr wrapping this other what element. Now, with that understanding as a programmer, if I want to speak to all these elements, I can use their parent element to select them. That is, if I say dot head underscore row and then I space, I say th, it means that even if I have another th here now, you are not talking to any other th that is not within this. because you are referencing the parent element. So let's use the parent element to talk to this because I want to transform all this to capital letter. And I don't want to call TH because I may have, if I call just TH, it might format this TH as well. So the way I will be able to narrow to the particular set of TH I'm talking about, I will use their parent element to select them. Now going back to my CSS, I will simply do dots this, I will space, I will say TH, and then before I open my CSS declaration block. Now, what do I want? Test transform. I want to make them all capital letter. Test transform. So let's go and check if we can see any difference. You can see. So I have been able. Now, like I was showing us, there's something I'm avoiding. If I have, let's say, prosper here, and I fail to use the model method or the parent element to select, if I simply do, let's say, I do just TH. Now, let's see what will happen. You can see that what is affecting everything. But by the time I specify the parent element and I go back to the page, you can see that what prosper is not affected. So I want to verify if you are following.
I didn't get that part. Please come again.
Which of the parts? Okay, so I understand the part you're talking about.
This last part.
Now, look up. I'll try to show us the reason why I call TH, the reason why I call TH through its parent element instead of just calling TH, because as a programmer, I understand that there might be other TH. That is why I deliberately created this TH here outside this TR. Now, where you have it like this, you have multiple TH and you want to talk to a particular set of TH, like in this case now, we want to talk to only this set of TH. We don't want to include the TH. So instead of me in my CSS selector, instead of me just typing TH, which will format all this and also format every other TH, since I'm talking to this, so I just selected this TH with the parent element. That's what I did here. Look at this here. I called the class the container that is wrapping the set of TH I am referencing, and then before I now call the what? The child element. Is that clear now? Please.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Sir, please, can you go back a bit? I think my network tripped off and I left. Then I came back.
But did you get it for the first time?
Yes.
That is what she said she did not get it, so I have to recap. So if you understand what we did for the first time, now that is what I just re-explained now. Or are you saying I should re-explain again? You understand why we use this to call this TH, right?
Yes, sir.
So that it will not affect what?
The
It
So
will
that
not affect other TH.
good. I'm trying to teach us how you can use parent element to select child what elements where you have the same child element in other places. So you can use their parent just like your family. I will use flourish. Flourish, I know that if we go to your village now, there are other people bearing flourish, right?
Yes.
Now, if somebody get to that your village and be calling flourish, flourish, all the flourish will follow or will answer you.
Yes.
Now, if you want to
Yes.
specify which of the flourish you are talking about, what do you think you will do?
You class me
By what? What will I use to class you?
by my parents' name.
Chikena. Prince, hope you understand the concept.
It's a flush on one that
Eh,
person.
Chikena, once I add your father name, I have already classed you. I have already what? identify with the flourish I am referring to. So in programming, that is what I just did now. Is that clear first before I move on?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now we have only created the header. Let's look at the picture you snap. After the header, what do we have there? We have record, right? From the image you snap. We have record like number 1, number 2. And then we collected what? Information under each of the header. So let's go and update that before we bring out the intermediates or the inner grid line, because right now we already got on the boss grid line. Now what you are going to do is that you come outside this TR, but you are still inside the table. So we will now create what we call TD. The TD means table data. It means table data. That is the full meaning of the TD. Now, as the name implies, TD, which means table data. Table data. Now, this number 1 is a data under what? Serial number. Prosper is a data under what? Customer name. Now, it means that all these cells, they are created with what? This tag, because the cells are the container of the data. The cells are used to hold the value in a table. So now for us to develop that as programmer, we have to step outside the first TR, because the first TR has been dedicated for creating your heading. Now your table data start from the next TR. So you create another TR and expand it, and then you now declare TD. The first TD is for serial number. I'll put what? 1 here. So another TD is for the way you declare your heading is for what? Customer what? Name. I will type, let's say Prosper. Then we are still in that second TR. The whole of this is just for one record. Now, another TD for state. Let's say what? Data. I don't want to mind my my case, because I will use CSS to format everything. So TD for gender, let's say male, and then another TD for product, let's say printer, just like the way we have it there. Another TD for what? For rate, how much we are selling one printer. So if I like, I can format the Naira sign immediately in front of it. Then another TD is for the what? Let me know whether you are following. TD for what? TD for what? Flourish and Co. TD for what?
For the total.
What do we have there? Okay, let me just assume. Now let's go back to the front end. Can you see what we have collected now? How come we don't have total? Is it that we missed one? Let me check. We missed one. We missed quantity. Can you see it? We missed quantity. After products, we bring in another TD. Quantity, let's say 40. So let's go back to the front end and check. Good, balance. Now, the issue we have here now is alignment. They are not on the same alignment. So what we are going to do now, let's activate the lines, the grid line, before we know the proper alignment. Now, to activate the grid line, what we are going to do, the grid line affects 3 things: the table, the TD, and the TR. So I will select in my CSS, I will select, let's say, dot head row, then comma, TH, comma, and then TD. Once I have my TD, it will generate the TR, so I don't have to call the TR. Then before I declare my block, then I will say border, that border that we apply to table. So we will remove it from here. Let me just copy it to show that it's applicable to how many components instead of just one. It's applicable to the table styling and then the TH and then the TD. Now, if you come back, you can see that what they are all affected. Now we can clearly see our alignment now that we have activated our grid line. The alignment is that the header are positioned at the center of the cell. If you calculate this space and this space, this space and this space, but our values are totally off from that alignment. Our values are using left alignment. So it's either you ask the header to maintain the values alignment or the values to maintain the header's alignment. So what I'm going to simply do is that I will just say, since I'm talking to all of them, this is where I was talking to the TH. So I will just come here and say test align, test align, test align. I can just say left. So let's go and check. So you can see that what we have achieved the alignment. And like I told us, I wanted the whole of this first row to have a background color different from other record I am going to create. So I'll go back to my CSS. This is where I'm talking to that particular row. Now remember that I class the row this instead of what? The table. So what I'm going to do is to quickly talk to the row here. So I will just say background color, and then I will say what? Let's say black. Then definitely we have to change the text color since we are using black background to like white. So like white. Now let's go and check. So we have it formatted. We have it formatted. So what we have done now is what you will have done in Microsoft Word like this. You click on, you highlight everything like this, and then you go to format or design rather, sorry, layout. From layout, you come, sorry, from design, you come here, and then you select this. So you can see that is what we simply achieve with what? Code now. Is it clear? Are you with me?
We are with you, sir.
Okay, so I'll pause here. Flourish, you will share your screen. Are you joining with your laptop?
No, no, no.
Okay, so
Should I join my laptop?
I wanted us to do classwork. I wanted to stop and allow you guys to code to where I am now. So that
So we can't do, but I can
Sir,
just send you a video of finishing the code.
could be the one.
which of the code?
This one that you're doing.
I'm recording as well now. I'm recording. Okay, so let's just continue. When I'm through, once you get the video, you sit down with it. Just make sure that you are observing, because once you observe very well, if you sit down with it, it's a simple thing. You document all the CSS we are using in your notes. Don't just watch the video. Be transferring this code to your note. You take it as a topic, all the code that I emanated from each of the classes, you write them down, even as you particularize
Yes,
them.
sir.
Now, if you look at
Sir,
this,
from that assignment, I wanted to ask you a question before from that assignment.
okay, you have it before that you want to present.
The assignment before.
Have you done it? I want
Eh,
you to show me for on your laptop.
okay. Now let me on my
Don't,
laptop.
don't on it here. When I'm through with this class now, you on it and
Okay,
show
sir.
me. I will take the assignment after the class. So
Okay, sir.
now, uh, let's see if we can still develop this table. So we have created only one heading, and then we have also created one row. Now, what I'm going to do to save my time I will just copy this one. This is the one that generated that first record. And then copy it. I am still inside the table. I will just come outside that TR, paste it. I just want to have like 10 record. Paste it. So all I need to do is just to go back and start editing what? The name. So you just go back to where you started from. So this is for the first person. Then here, this is for the first person. Then here, you change here to 2. So if you are coding, this is how you make your work faster. So you can say, so you just copy and duplicate the format and then go through the code and edit. So you can take your time to do that. So the table you are going to submit should have less than 20 record. So let's go to the front end so you can see that we have the table what defined. Now, but there are still a couple of things we are going to do here in CSS. This is not professional table. This look very amateur. We don't need this double line. We just need one line. So how do we do that? It is called we use a CSS property called collapse, border collapse. Then the value will be what? Collapse. That is how you can destroy one of the line. Now, if we go back to our CSS, we need to identify the selector that is responsible for that. If I select just table, it will collapse only the one attached to the table and leave other ones that are around the TH and the TR and the TD. So the best place to apply it is here. This is where you actually selected the 3 major components that contribute to the properties you are talking about. So you put it here, border collapse, border collapse, border collapse, and then the value should be what? Collapse. Now, if I go back to my front end, I expected this to have collapse. Let me check what is happening. Dot this border collapse. Okay, so let's debug it out. Let me see what is happening. Okay, so now it's like we still have, let's check our CSS. Should be able to debug it out. What I have here, border. Now this is where I'm talking to. This is where I'm talking to. How did I select table 1? Okay, I have table. Okay, this one I'm talking to only the TH. So you can see the reason why it did not work. Okay, now this is table row. So table is not here. Table is not selected. So this command should come to, let's put it here. This is where we are actually talking to the table. So you can see it. So we have automatically destroyed the line. Is that clear? We have just one. So by default, you always have double lines. Then it's now left for you to use this property. Now, one thing you must observe, you must know the right selector. You can see here what was confusing me here. Here, I didn't mention table element here. Here, I was talking to just TH. And even here that I added it, I was talking to the TR and the TH and the TD. So table is never mentioned here. And the only place the border collapse can work is on the table so that it can affect all the properties inside the table. Now, the next thing I want to, because you have to make sure that your table is professionally designed in a way that it can attract the users of your website based on what you are holding with the table. So the next thing I want to do, I don't want all this vertical line. It will look too childish. I want a kind of mature table in the sense that I will only want the borderline, as in the bottom borderline. I don't even want the top one. I don't want the side one. So how do I achieve that? It's very simple. So first of all, you take this off because this is going to be contradicting whatever you are going to do. So once you take it off, there should be another place where I am having it. That is the reason why it did not go. Let me check my code. I've removed border. Good. You can see I still have it here. So let me also take it off here. Just want to show us. So you have to turn off the whole borderline first before you can now say, I will need only the bottom line. So now that we have turned off the entire line, then we will now define where we are going to define that is this same place. So we'll now say border bottom, because instead of calling just border, because when you call border, it means you are referring to what? All the side, both left, right, and top. But where you want to be specific, you can call, that is what we have, but border bottom, we have border right, we have border left, we have border top. So just take note of that. If you just call just border, it means you are talking to all of them. So border bottom, I will do that same configuration. 1PS solid. This time around, let me use another type of line so that you can know that it's not only solid. I can say dotted, I can say blue as my color this time around. So let's go there and check our front end. So you can see that you have just the bottom line. So your table is looking more professional than the way it was. Now, there's another thing again I want to achieve. I want to be able to highlight the row the user is currently touching with the mouse. If, for example, now maybe you are looking for a value, I want to give a kind of focus. So once they hover on this, the whole of that particular row should change its appearance so that to allow the users to focus, to know which of the row they are actually extracting or reading its content. So what we need to do is to add hover effect. I believe I've talked about hover effect to only the row. Hover effect is additional style you give to HTML element, which can only, that particular style can only be triggered by an action. So the action I want to program here is that the user, when they log into this page, they will not see the hover effect as like an alternative style until they touch any of the row. So that touching is an action, which is called what? Hover, until they hover. So there is a syntax how you do that. What are you creating that hover effect on? If it is TD, you call it. If it is TR, you call it. But in this case, we are adding the hover effect to our TR or the TR. So what I'm going to do is that I will come outside. I will use comment adding hover effect to all the rows. To all the rows. So come down here. So what is the syntax? Since it's all the row, I will just say what? TR and then colon like this. Then you type hover. Then after that, you declare the CSS bracket. Sorry, I need to put H here. Hover. So this is syntax. Then after that, you call that effect, the style that will be triggered as soon as the user touches any of the row. So I will say the color of the text that is currently, I don't know, let me check, black. Once they hover on it, it should change to white. Then the background color that is white, then it will change to background color, to change to color that will still bring out the white. Change to what? This. And then I want a kind of I want the handwriting, the font to change, font family. So all these I'm trying to differentiate them from others. Font family should change. Okay. Now, the font family should change to this, and then the font style, that is what we know as italic, or change it. Let's say I want it to be slanted. Now let's go and verify what we have done. Look at this. As soon as I touch any of it, it gives them focus. Now they are able to know, okay, right now I'm selecting Prosper record from data mail. Once they hover on any, even including one, except that one that you have given black background, any other row holding record, once they hover, is going to what? To be changing. So we can actually add the hover effect to the table itself in a way that we can change the width. So on hover, the table width should be 100%. Then without hover, the table width should be 80%, which we have already programmed. So what I'm going to do that is that I will just come here so that you can understand that concept of hover again. So adding hover effect to the table, in case you have other one, table class, table one, table class, table one. Then remember it is what? Dot table one. Then remember the syntax, colon, follow, then you type what? Hover. Then before you declare your CSS block. After that, the current width is 80%. So I will say that on hover, the width should be 100. So there are a lot of magic you can actually create on your web page with this hover effect concept. Then width, then I think just this. So let's see. Let's go and check the appearance. You see, once they hover, the table is now 100%. Once the person leave the table shrink back to what? 80%. Any question? Question? Are we still here?
We did, sir.
Oh, okay. You know, where then tap PG now. I will say, just say there. Things have flourished. Then we there, sir. Now we there. Get us in.
Oh,
Maybe you want to be a
sorry,
programmer.
no.
It's good. You see, consider programming is sweet. Honestly, all you need to do is to create time. Once you create time and practice, all these things are simple. And like I've advised us before, when you are learning any professional computer program, there is need for you to expand your knowledge through researching. For example, now the topic is table, right? After this class now, you
My phone.
after the
Network won't come disturb. Oh.
you are not hearing me. Hello, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, let me know. Can you hear me?
How about for the assignment now? You do am?
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
so we are rounding up now so that you can. So what will happen is that we will stop here on the table. We still have one more class on it. So when we meet next time, I think going to
Thank you for
add more
coming.
to the table. So we still have some magic we can perform on this table. Then we'll look at how we can, instead of putting this write-up, we'll put images inside this cell to form our image array in our gallery or in any other page. Exactly. So that we can use the remaining time to check the assignment. Hello,
Hello, sir.
can you hear me?